Who are your people?
I don't have people. I'm alone.
Solo.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Underrated Podcast. This is a podcast where we discuss the films that we feel are underrated, underappreciated, or have just slipped under the radar and passed by most people. The show is a collaboration of friends and podcasters comprised of myself and Fred Torres, aka District 6.
Yo, what's up?
Ariel and Sergio Ortiz.
Hello.
Hey,
What's
I'm
up,
in the
dude?
background today.
She's in the background.
Hello.
Nice. I've been there.
Is it me
many
you're
times.
looking for?
And the homie, Derek McDuff.
I can see.
Last and maybe least.
What?
Oh man, come on, don't put yourself like that.
I can see.
We have other
you
movies that we
smile.
put down upon that. So anyways,
You're dying.
so today we're going to be talking about Small Little Picture and a very small little franchise that nobody really gives a shit about.
Ratatouille?
It's a little indie.
Solo,
Two.
a Star Wars story.
Solo.
Nothing but Star Wars.
Directed by the homie Ron Howard.
And
And the end, it was directed by him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, it was. Right?
Wow.
Well, most of it was.
Most of it, yeah.
Undisclosed Amount was directed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Was that right? What are their names?
Is that
Lord
he
and
did
Miller.
Deadpool?
No.
Kristen Nobles?
Lord and Miller, they did
Who?
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. They did Spider-Verse. Well, they produced Spider-Verse.
So they basically made every good movie ever.
Well, yeah.
Nobody
We're
watched
gonna
Spider-Verse.
discuss about that.
So
Let's
anyways-
get
Yeah, but
this
Cloudy with a
intro.
Chance of Meatballs, they did.
We're gonna discuss.
Everybody
that.
saw Cloudy with
21
Chance of
Jump
Meatballs.
Street, they did.
We're
Who?
gonna- yeah.
Again, nobody
20
saw that.
22 Jump Street.
Huh?
And 21.
What?
What?
23 Jump Street, the college years.
Huh?
What?
Nah, nobody saw that.
Too many numbers.
My name Jeff.
Nobody goes to Dorsey, anyways.
Who?
Jeff.
The movie did pretty well, 70% Rotten Tomatoes. It was received pretty well. It made $392 million at the box office.
for coming to the
Why is
podcast.
this underrated?
You were the one who picked it.
Why does everybody hate it?
Tell us,
Because
Wait, why is it underrated? Now
Wait.
now we asking that question.
Wait, let's
we
let
have
him
to remember though, it's a Star Wars film that a lot of people didn't care for.
Political
How
people
many
did not like
films have
Oh
been
wow!
And
a
how much-
franchise
wait, how-
that's
so-
supposed to make millions of dollars.
How
only
much?
made
Yeah,
millions of
how much? It
dollars.
made it a good amount of money, but how much did it cost, Alan? Because this
So-
movie was
so-
one of the most expensive movies ever made.
at its own expense.
So it made $392 million at the box office,
Worldwide.
but it cost $300 million to make. So it only made a profit of $92 million,
That's
which is
before you factor
apparently
in
chump change.
advertising.
Why is
Because you
that,
got to base.
Alan? You want to tell us why?
Well, because nobody gives a fuck about Han Solo.
That's not true.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, because everyone's gonna be like, "Dude, fuck that guy." No, but no, I think I'm just gonna start off right here. Go ahead. Everybody here who's here talking about the podcast, and I have two people in the audience right now. I have Ariel and the homie Frankie. If I can ask you guys
Frankie's a new
real
homie for me.
quick, did you guys want a Han Solo film?
No.
No.
When I was a kid, yes.
Did anybody here want it?
No.
I didn't really want it, but I did kind of like it.
If I can say, here's the thing. I think I want to say I feel that most people were like this. You like the idea of thinking that you wanted a Han Solo movie, but at the same time, you didn't want somebody to tell you the story because you're already imagining certain things in your own head.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is because once a movie comes out, it ruins that idea.
And I think that idea goes along with a lot of what Disney is doing right now. Is like, does it really need to be made? Especially with the whole concept of a
Yeah, like the
solo
Mandalorian needs to be made.
prequel. Okay,
I like that because that's something else. It's not
It's
just.
not Boba.
Is it though?
Yeah, it's not
It's
Boba
not
Fett.
Boba Fett.
It's not Boba
But,
Fett.
okay, no, great.
No,
I'm glad
no,
it's not
no,
Boba Fett.
yeah.
Fuck Boba Fett.
I
This
agree.
is where me and Alan's
Thank
argument is.
Yeah.
I like
that.
to pester him. I like to pester him a little bit and
my
jab him a
God,
little bit.
he literally just is cool because he looks cool.
because Boba Fett is gonna come back and they're gonna have a Boba Fett movie.
Please, no.
Why? Nobody asked for it.
Why? You know why? Because nobody asked for Han Solo, but here he is.
See, I could,
And the results
I could
speak
see
for
a Han Solo
themselves.
movie. This is what it felt like to me. It felt like, and like I actually enjoyed the movie. Like I didn't love it, but I do think it's a good movie. It felt like to me the novelization prequel you would get when like Star Wars came out. You're like, oh, Han Solo, like what was the you would get like this little like, novelization for like kids or young adults or something, like The Adventures of Han Solo.
You don't need to know that.
It does feel like a lot of kind of like information that we're like, well, we'll put this stuff cool in his backstory and you can like read about these like further adventures in just this Han Solo novel. Like it doesn't feel like a huge movie that really needs to be made. It feels like these kind of things that had been mentioned in other movies that we'll just kind of talk about.
I think the reason why this movie was made, because obviously like when these companies are like, oh, we got to make a movie about certain characters, which unfortunately wasn't Obi-Wan.
Yes,
but the thing is,
please make an Obi-Wan movie.
Yeah, exactly. It needs to be Obi-Wan
with Ewan McGregor's The Island.
The Island. So go back and listen to that one. It's really great. It's a great podcast. The best one you've ever heard.
Okay,
go ahead.
Here, this is where I'm going again, right? We all want an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie. But do we really want that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do we
no. But what I'm saying is like, yeah, okay, you put Ewan McGregor in the movie, cool. But I'm saying like, do you think it's going to live up to the expectations? That's the problem. That's the thing with the Han Solo. The Han Solo movie did it. The problem is, I don't think it lives up to the expectations because certain people want certain things.
Yeah,
because you have this image of what he is and what he. Yeah, exactly.
Because honestly, the thing is, what I want in an Obi-Wan movie because I want Hayden Christensen playing Obi-Wan.
Because here's the thing. No, because here's the thing. Rogue One works so well.
I'm fucking around.
Because the story is its own story.
Yeah,
it's literally own story, and then you get this brand new story in the middle of it that you never knew.
It brings more lore. Everybody loves extra lore.
Yeah, but like we've seen Obi-Wan. I'm just saying, like you could mess it up.
You could, but here's what the thing I think like
you could, but you can't because
you've had
everybody loved Trainspotting.
Well, no, because I'm saying you had him in the. I've never watched that movie, so I don't really know. You have him in the prequels, right? Or the first three, not the first three, but you know, episode 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah,
you have him, right?
Our prequel memes, yes.
Yeah, and then you have him. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is I like the idea of having a movie, but I'm also afraid of the idea of having a movie.
This is why.
Let me. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, I was just going to say real fast. This is why I think an Obi-Wan movie would work better than a Han Solo movie, is because with the Han Solo movie, they're trying to check all these boxes of his backstory. They're like, okay, he's got to meet Chewie, he's got to meet Lando, he's got to get the Millennium Falcon, he's got to go on the Kessel Run. It's all, he's got to get his Solo. It's like all these things we know about Han Solo. We're just going to show you how they happen. He's going to get his gun. Like that's the things that like I didn't love about this movie. Whereas Obi-Wan, like there's this just
from an origin story, yeah. So
yeah, wait, let me finish. Because like with Obi-Wan though, we had the origin story in the prequels. This is like this chunk where there's no like we don't know what he was doing. It could just be like an original story. We don't have to have like his backstory about how he went on the Kessel Run. We're not trying to fill in the blanks.
That's exactly what people expect from a Solo movie.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's why it would be different. That's why it would be different for Obi-Wan.
No, hang on. I think all that stuff that you checked off, right? I think all of it worked. Like I saw the movie and the movie was good. No, the movie's good. The only problem is it's not amazing. You expected it to be amazing. They told you that in the sense of the story and the stuff, it worked real well. The actors were good. I thought the stuff was good. I thought it was good.
Fred, do you think it's spectacular though?
Not. No. It's not Spider-Man.
That's called Spider-Man. Yeah.
Do you think it is Star Wars?
No, it worked. No, it worked. It gave us some of the stuff.
Yeah, it's a fine.
The Lando was good. Like I said, it's personally good, but it doesn't blow you away like Rogue One did.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's because we already know the story. That's what I'm saying. We already know the story. Now it's like it's like reading a book. That's what I'm saying. It's like reading a book and then seeing the pictures.
So,
but I'm also going to go with if Obi-Wan Kenobi, right, with his just per se. Wouldn't he have to get picked? It would almost be like having Anakin again.
We
right?
don't know
you get picked
story,
up.
Though.
If only we had more Anakin.
But no, but I'm saying like you're gonna have a little bit of origin somewhere. He's gonna get picked up sometime. He's gonna get trained by the Jedi.
No. You don't do that Obi-Wan movie. You do Obi-Wan on Tatooine. Okay, like fighting Tusken Raiders. That's the Obi-Wan movie.
This is why people watch these movies. It's because we get into these like discussions about like an Obi-Wan movie, and then we see it and we watch it. and It's like, oh wait, this isn't my Obi-Wan.
I don't want an Obi-Wan movie when he's training with Qui-Gon. I want an Obi-Wan later in life.
That's what he's saying.
That's you want an Obi-Wan movie and you get what you get and you don't throw a foot. You can't say, I want an Obi-Wan movie with this.
No, that's what I'm saying.
No. Wait.
Let's turn it down real fast. Let me finish up a little bit of my intro real quick.
Yeah.
So what I was going to get at was the way I think about this movie is what's your guys' favorite X-Men? Who do you immediately go like?
Wolverine. Fuck everybody else.
Wolverine?
I'm gonna have to say, yeah, either Wolverine or Professor X or
Or
Magneto.
Dazzler, right? Okay. And then,
I'm gonna go with the answer that a lot of people aren't gonna like, but I love Cyclops.
okay, there you go. Okay,
Cyclops.
honestly, you kind of helped out the whole my whole point. So you said Wolverine, and Dazzler, and then the homies back there. What's your favorite X-Men?
Professor X.
Okay.
Yay!
What the fuck? Okay.
Cyclops-
You know why? You know why? Because Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah,
But that's only why. That's only why.
I was gonna say, I was gonna say because Marvel vs. Capcom Cyclops is fucking OP.
Yeah, he is,
I get
and I would
that.
agree. But I'm talking about
Frankie, you're playing the meta. Okay,
Yeah,
with
exactly.
that. But okay, so you guys kinda got
Berserker
to my
Rage.
point.
Come on.
No, because Cyclops has that stupid fucking
I know,
command grab that you can do, and then his supers are really good.
So what's the argument here? What
So
are you
the whole
talking
point
about?
is, what I was gonna say is, are you more excited to see a Wolverine movie or a Cyclops movie?
A Cyclops movie.
Okay,
I wouldn't. I'm gonna say Wolverine
You
because
want to say Wolverine?
I guess the Wolverine.
Wolverine?
because that's the one I
El
like.
Público?
Well, because Legion has Professor X in the last episode, I'm hyped up. for
Between
Spoiler.
Wolverine and fucking Scott.
that. Scott.
Are you kidding me?
Well, no, you know
No,
why?
no,
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 but
no.
here's why. No, because
okay, Wolverine, and then
From what I've seen from the movies, that they can't give Cyclops justice, I have to go with Wolverine.
Wolverine. Exactly. Okay, so Obi-Wan is the homie Logan.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Han Solo is Cyclops. Okay, who do you want to
Well,
see
no,
more?
no,
you want to see
no, no,
Wolverine?
hang on, hang on.
Let me finish,
no,
let me
let me just finish up. So the whole thing, what I'm trying to get at, is that Luke is Wolverine. He's a star. He's the shit, man. He has a green lightsaber. He's a beast. He goes berserker rage. He has the Force. Han Solo, he's fucking cool. Don't get me wrong. He's really cool. He's a cool character. He has a fan base just like Cyclops. But when you think about X-Men, you don't think about Cyclops right off the bat. I'm sorry.
Except for me.
Except for you. Don't get me wrong.
and I get what-
Or people, or Justin Wong.
Let me
because,
finish. Sorry.
or Justin Wong because he's the meta in Marvel too. But the thing is, when you go watch Solo, you're kind of like, okay, I'm down because you want the lore and you're kind of cool with it. You want to see what he does. But like when you go watch Logan, man, you cry. You're fucking excited for it. You're hyped up.
okay, we had shitty fucking Wolverine movies before.
True.
And not
True.
just one, not just one. Logan is the only one. But see, this is where I'm going with.
The Wolverine wasn't bad.
No, but this is where I'm going with. It depends on what kind of Wolverine do you want. And that's what I'm saying. Is this Obi-Wan Kenobi? Just like Han Solo.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted the idea of a Han Solo movie.
Exactly.
But did you get the Han Solo you wanted?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Not
So-
that.
so-
Because somebody might have got that Han Solo.
Exactly.
Somebody might have watched it and said,
Exactly.
this is my
Yeah.
shit.
No, exactly
Well,
And
that.
someone else watches
But
it and
that's
goes,
the
this
thing.
isn't it.
No,
that's
that's
what
what I'm
makes
trying
the
to-
difference between like.
But that's
Is this the character that the people who made this character wrote, or is it your fan fiction?
fiction. Exactly. That's where I'm
So-
agreeing with
so
you.
The
that's-
guys
so
who
this-
wrote Empire Strikes Back wrote this movie, so it is.
As far as I'm concerned, like
shit.
5
That's my
people
favorite Star Wars.
friggin'
Yeah,
wrote this
well,
movie. This movie
So-
had like 10 writers. It's
Yeah. So
but it's not. That's conflicting. It shows. Honestly, it shows because there's just so much different like styles I was trying to go for, and the same problem I had with Rogue One. Granted, it's not this. The problem is this is not as bad as it was in Rogue One, because Rogue One was just like two ideas battling each other, but with Solo, it's just like, one, I didn't ask for it, and two, I'm at least expecting to, I guess it's Star Wars, it's Solo, whatever. I'm not really like, oh, this is not Solo. This, you have to do this to be Solo. It's like, does it really affect anything that's happened already?
It's a pretty
and
meaningless movie.
that's what I'm trying to kind of get at. So like, when you see a Wolverine movie, you're like, fuck yeah, he's gonna go Berserker Rage, he's gonna do Raw Level 1, Raw Level 3, or whatever the fuck. But like Cyclops, you're kind of like, I don't know, man, do I really need it? But my point is, when you get a Cyclops movie, you got lore, you get a little bit more of his abilities, you get to see a little bit extra where you're like, oh shit, I didn't know Cyclops was that down. Other than like Avengers versus
But it was-
X-Men.
But to see a Cyclops
about
movie,
that.
you could never get him where you get him now. Cyclops would have to be like way in the future when he already knows how to use his powers, when he already knows his stuff, when it's already something.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has to be hype shit like that.
Right. If they do it right,
If they do it right.
or they could wind up like I said, like the Wolverine, and have a Deadpool with a weird mouth or something. Like it all
A
depends.
Barakapool, yeah.
But if you get Logan, which is it's still the same stuff, it's just a different story. It's the story. It's
Again.
It's just a story. But that's what I'm saying. If the story on Solo would have been done right. But that's one of those
Nobody
things. Like I
would
said,
have cared
but
if it was
you're
done
going
right.
into
no,
my
but
point.
I'm saying if the story was right to, I guess the general crowd, because the thing about Star Wars and the thing about X-Men and certain movies like that they have issues is it's just like he says, it's this fan fiction and it's these ideas that you keep writing in your head because the story's only written so far and you keep people keep expanding.
No, but the
people
thing
keep
is,
talking.
you're going
So
right
you
into
think
my
that's
point.
why it's
That's exactly what
underrated?
I'm saying. Well, that's why I'm saying it's underrated. Because
Okay,
you're going
but
right into
what I'm
my
saying is that
point.
no matter what, the story is kind of.
Exactly, and the thing is,
So that
it's
means
not
it
always
kinda
bad.
gets what it
It's
deserves.
not exactly.
No,
it's not
that's-
always
no,
bad. And you're going right into my point where, like, when you look at Wolverine,
Yeah.
you know, let's 5'1" Canadian little berserker,
Yeah.
you have so much expectations.
Right.
But when you look
But
at
I want
Cyclops,
to say the first movie was underrated. I would say the first movie was
no,
bad, and that's why it sucked.
That's why I'm saying you have so much to fucking go for with Wolverine because you're like, okay, I can fuck this, fuck that up. But with the thing with Solo, because you're going right into my point.
No. I
So
know.
the thing
I
with
see why
Cyclops-
you're saying underrated. But
Yeah.
but what I'm trying to say is I think his point is just I'm saying like if it's an underrated movie or it's a bad movie, okay? And I think where he's going is like it's not a good movie, so therefore how can it be underrated if it's bad?
I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm not saying it, like, you know, just give me a moment. What I'm trying to say is like you have a little bit more leeway with it, that type of character. For
Yeah, I
like
totally get what you're
Cyclops,
saying.
with Cyclops, it's kind of like he's not so much of a fan favorite. I mean, you know,
You can
he's a
kind of
fan
do some more
favorite.
interesting things.
Exactly, you can do more things. Like what I was trying to get at was kind of my little like segue into the brilliance that I think of Solo.
Or like not necessarily like
okay.
like you could do it like a Dazzler movie because who the fuck knows about Dazzler or like Kitty
Fucking
Pryde?
I do.
Like,
Let's do it.
Or like, you know, like one of these like lesser known X-Men. It would be really cool to do a movie about them because
It's
like
do
Wolverine,
people
everybody
want
knows
to
about.
see
Yeah,
It.
that?
everybody
they're never
knows
really gonna
Wolverine.
do
So
that.
it's
some
like-
man can have an artistic vision for Dazzler, but it's like the corporate, like the Disney Corporation's gonna look at that and like, who the hell's Dazzler? Nobody
well,
wants to see
Exactly.
that.
No,
no.
but
But you know
what-
what they did that with Guardians of the Galaxy? They showed you that
Yeah.
they can take a bunch
Exactly.
of
You know
obscure
what
guys and
sold
make
that
them.
movie?
And that's what I'm trying
the
to do
logos,
with
the
Solo.
because he saw it was the new installment, and what they showed was really good. But
I see where you're going with it.
You
No,
kinda see where I'm
I
going
see
with-
where you're going with it.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying because they went with a generic route and gave us
Yeah.
the things that they thought you needed to see. This
Yeah.
is what we're saying that
But
this
it
is
doesn't
what makes it
matter,
a
'cause,
bad
like, that's
movie
what, you
instead
know,
of like
it's like a
like.
checklist.
I'm not saying a
I don't
bad
think it's a bad movie.
No. No, like I said, I liked it, but I could see where people didn't because they gave you the generic stuff. They threw in a Kessel Run. They,
That's
like
what
you
I'm
said,
saying.
they checked it off right.
Exactly.
When they could have gave us a different Han Solo movie. Yes, they could have had those things in it
But-
in a different way to give
I
us
want
a
to get
better
into
story.
that when I talk
get
about
that,
it like more
but
depth.
I want to go in a little more depth for the brilliance of this movie. What I fucking absolutely loved. Because with the Wolverine, Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan movie, you're gonna have to go into the nitty gritty. You want to go into the.
Can I say
favorite
something real
parts.
fast?
don't
Just
have
like
to.
real-
Yeah.
No, I know. But I'm
do.
just trying to set it up.
I
Go
think
ahead.
that Han Solo is the Wolverine. I think he's not the Cyclops because I think Wolverine's the most popular X-Men. Han Solo in the original
That's
trilogy
like
is the most
making-
popular
Yeah,
character.
no, I get
That's
that. I'm
like
going with the popularity.
making
though. I'm going with the
Porker
popularity thing.
the spin-off movie.
You know why I think in the three he has some popularity stuff because he's kind of the unknown thing, you know, because you already know Jedi, right? Like you kind of have that idea of the Jedi.
No,
have
you
the
don't.
idea
Not
of
when they
this.
first come out.
Well, no, but I'm saying like as the movies
get
are going along, but
everything
the
that
thing
you
that you don't
need
get a lot
to
from
know.
Han Solo, and that's what I'm saying. As of right now, why they wanted a Han Solo movie is because the other stuff gets like kind of told as it goes along, but Han Solo is just kind of like it's this mysterious dude who was this and this and this, and you get a few stories, and they
Yeah.
say this is why he's a badass.
So you're
So,
never
there's some
supposed to-
backstory
yeah.
mystery, but at the same time, that's what kind of makes you cool
Yes.
because you got that
No,
like
yeah.
Yes.
no
But-
mystery.
but-
That's what makes
but-
Han
so-
Solo Han Solo.
Han
because
Solo, yeah. I
it
mean,
is a Luke Skywalker story.
So it is
Yeah.
a story.
But so that way, like Luke Skywalker doesn't know all this about Han Solo, so you know we don't really need to either.
Mm-hmm. No, and I totally get that. No, but what I'm trying to say is, like, what I feel is what they did is they finessed it in a certain way because, like, honestly, yeah, like I was in that same position where I was like, I don't want fucking Han Solo's story, but the thing they did really well about this was that they were able to explore the lore of Star Wars that we haven't had before, other than Rogue One. One of my favorite aspects about this movie is that he goes in to the war, like he's fighting in the war. Like, and
The
it
Star
was so
War.
the Star War.
Yeah.
I do
he
like you
fights
get
in
to
the
see
Star War.
these aspects
Star
of Star
War.
Wars that you didn't get to see before. Like
That-
you get to
yeah,
see this
because
kind
if-
of criminal underworld that's hinted at and
Exactly.
mentioned, but you never explicitly get to see. Like this is the first Star Wars movie without a lightsaber in it. I know there's
Exactly.
a hologram, but there's no lightsabers in this movie. It's a different kind of Star Wars movie, and that's the part I really appreciate because I'm kind of mixed on this movie. But what you're saying is what I loved about it.
Exactly, and that's what I loved about this movie was the lore.
I agree.
The
I
world
agree.
building.
That was
Because-
good. Now, if they would have gone, but like I said, like if they would have gone in the undersea belly a little bit, like you said, like some kind of like a little more than what they did, I think, because I think they scratched the surface of it.
Yeah, they
and that's what it
totally
is.
scratched the surface,
If
yeah.
they would have gone like you said, you know, the underbelly, if they went a little bit more deeper, a little bit more stuff, I think it would have been cool. Because at the same time, I almost feel like, and I don't know if you guys did too, they try to keep him somewhat clean as a guy.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, they were trying to keep him like he's still a scoundrel, but he's not.
But,
Yeah.
but
They
yeah,
made
when you
him
hear,
more
but the thing with the scoundrel,
Yeah, they
is
made
like,
him some sort of lover boy that's
They
like.
made him more
dude,
scum.
I
he
think you
was-
see
at
him
first-
starting to go dark in this, and that's why, at the end,
No.
he shoots first at the end.
yeah,
He
okay, I
kind
see
of-
what you're saying.
Yeah,
know?
and it's a great part of it. It's kind of like, again, the whole Cyclops thing, because you expect Wolverine to be like Berserker Barrage and he fucking slashes everybody up, but Cyclops, he has a little bit more of like, okay, I'm gonna take my time, and then at the end of the movie he's just like optic blast, and he's just a fucking
Yeah.
raw level 3 in Marvel 2 kind of fucking thing. So it's like, okay, cool, that's what I liked about it. That's what I appreciate about Solo, because there was more world building and there was more story.
No,
and my favorite
and
part,
it has those things, and I agree.
And
It has those things,
yeah.
but
But
it's in small chunks,
But
and
yeah,
I wanted
yeah,
more.
Yeah.
well,
it's
it's
small
either
chunks,
you're all,
it's not
all or nothing. All or
complete.
nothing. If you're getting a little bit dazzle here, that's fine. But if that's like a selling point, like I don't know, what's stopping me from going to the online encyclopedia of Star Wars and just reading or buying like a book of it from a store and reading all about that stuff. When I go to a Solo movie, I go to see Solo. That's just yeah.
Because I mean, it hits the really good
And that's
points.
honestly, yeah.
Millennium
the average
Falcon
view,
looks
Star
fucking
Wars,
great.
fucking gorgeous.
Him and
And
Chewie meeting each other, like
Oh, yeah, and
that
the
little
prison-
bonding,
and the
that little
prison
bonding
cell
was nice.
fucking
Yeah.
cool.
It was
Star
really
Wars is if not one of the most profitable brands of all time.
I mean, it's probably underrated.
So
though.
the average,
Yeah.
so the average viewer is probably not there going to a movie to see Solo, to see Star Wars lore. They're going to there to see Solo, not world building.
And the reason why I think it's such a well done film is because there's so many people that even the homies over at Geek Say What, one of them loves Han Solo. So when he heard about the film, he was like, "Oh fuck yeah, I'm excited for it." And I was like, "Dude, that's cool." I wasn't really excited for it, but when I went to go see it, I was like, I'm gonna watch it because I love Star Wars. At the end of the day, even if it's a Cyclops movie, even if it's a Wolverine movie, I still want to go watch it. Fuck Dark Phoenix, anyways, but
Yeah.
I still want to go see it because of the lore. And like what I love, one of my favorite fucking parts of the movie is the actual war aspect, because most of the movies, it's always like the hero's journey, the Jedi, and all that stuff.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's
what we
cool.
should have gotten
But
in
I
Rogue
think
One.
the reason they threw
Well,
in
we
the war
should
part,
have.
and
We
Rogue
kind of
One
got a
was-
taste of it in
yeah,
Rogue
hang
One.
on,
I-
and I think the only reason they threw in the war part, though, like honestly, is it was his way to escape what was coming down. Because remember, he gets through, then they're calling them on him, and the only way he can get away is to enlist.
There could have been a little more. I would have liked a little more of that.
That's what I'm saying.
But
But,
you know what?
but
It
all
was
you get is
still
like.
fucking cool
but
to
I'm saying
see.
no. But I'm saying all
It
you
is
get.
cool to
No,
see.
yeah, no, it is cool. But I'm saying like all you get though, that little tiny part is because he goes, "Oh, I need to enlist to get out." He's over there, and then as soon as that, he meets the other guy, and then boom, that part's done. Like I said, I would have liked to see a little bit more in that, a little bit more of that stuff. But it was more of like a little mulligan to get the fuck out.
But we never get everything we want, because
no, because you
unfortunately,
also see that in what
That's
was
the
it?
thing, you never
which,
really get.
which one was the
anything
one
you
where
want
we
Finn
never get
out of
everything we want in
No,
Star
hang on.
Wars.
Which
because
one was the one where the Finn was the stormtrooper, and then you see him fighting in the battle and people dying next to him?
Oh,
You
yeah.
saw that before.
That's episode 7.
Okay, 'cause you see
The
it-
Force
Force
Awakens.
Awakens.
Okay, so right in episode because
Directed by J.J. Abrams.
no, but I'm saying, but we get
J.J.
that there.
Abrams.
We get that there.
J.J.
What I'm saying is we get that there before we get it in Han Solo, and that's something that we're gonna gloss over because you're just like, oh, it's a part of the movie. But you do get to see from that one side of the one guy that's a stormtrooper at that point fighting in that and freaking
And that's
out.
cool, and that's the best
And that's
thing.
what I'm saying. But you see that again in Han Solo, and in Han Solo, maybe they didn't.
It doesn't work
focus
as
too
well.
much.
Until, guys, since we're kind of cross talking a lot, can we each like take a turn and like give kind of our like mini review of the movie?
Of course. But one thing I just want to end up that whole last part of like we only get a taste of something, and I feel like it's the most underrated part of the whole Star Wars franchise. It's absolutely brilliant. One of my favorite moments because I went to go see it with Frank at Rogue One, who's the audience here. One of the most beautiful fucking scenes in Star Wars was the Darth Vader slasher horror film hallway.
Yeah,
scene.
but you know, okay.
In Rogue
Not
One?
to take anything
Rogue
away
One
from
That
it.
was also
Not to
really
take
cool.
anything away
I
from
really
it.
love that.
I'm gonna go with that's pandering though to the people
No,
because you know
fuck
everybody.
that.
You know
No,
everybody
it
wants to
was.
see it.
It was.
You know,
It was great,
thank
but it was
you, Jared.
pandering. It
Because you
was-
know everybody
it was
wanted to see
great,
that.
but it was
Exactly.
so
Because that shit could have
pandering.
blown up and then that
No.
could have ended. But no. But you know.
I disagree.
I loved it, but it
I
was
forgive
pandering.
Exactly.
Some of that pandering. Okay, I
was
forgive that.
godlike.
I forgive that
That's
kind
all
of
I'm
pandering
gonna
because
say.
one,
Yeah.
it
Godlike.
was
I
don't mind
badass as
pandering.
shit.
Yeah, I don't mind
sometimes.
pandering
Yeah,
sometimes.
that's why
Yeah.
I don't
Call it
mind it
though.
here. It is pandering, but one, it's badass as shit.
Yeah.
And it's two, it's plausible that
No,
this could have
yeah.
happened and really. Because
No, it
you know,
did. It
Exactly.
did.
Star
Because
Wars.
that's how they linked it at the
And
end. When they
that's
did
all
the
You know what?
I'm
I
saying.
would call it more fan service than pandering.
Okay,
That's
there you
what
go.
I would call it. I
Fan
would call
service.
pandering
Yeah,
fan
that's what I
service.
meant.
As-
Okay, yeah,
as
you're
we
Which is
right.
not a bad thing.
As Fred and Frankie and I are all big anime lovers.
This totally could have happened in the story.
Darth Vader, best waifu.
That's
True,
true.
That's all I gotta
but,
say.
I mean, yeah, but
Best waifu.
still. But still, it is fan service. There
It
you go.
is fan
That's what I
service,
was looking
exactly.
for. That was the word I was
Yeah.
looking
Okay,
for.
that's all I
It was
wanna
big
say.
fan service.
Let's
That's
get
all I
back on
wanna
with,
say.
with Solo.
And
Some of
then
the, okay,
now-
there is some pandering in this. Spoilers.
There's a bit pandering,
Yeah.
but
Mr. Maul.
I'm
Darth
not gonna
Maul,
lie, that was
freaking-
that was my fan service geek out moment
Darth
where I was
Maul?
just like, that
I
was
think
my favorite.
that's what they
Yeah.
threw in. Yeah, that was it. Fan service right there
Why?
for everybody, just to
it
throw them
wasn't
in.
as good as the Darth Vader scene. But
True,
It was
but
not.
And then now,
But you don't
I'm
want to. But the
going
thing is, you don't want to
Let's-
repeat.
let's
those
get
things.
into our reviews.
All right, just to
It's
finish
like,
up.
oh, what? Darth Maul's now a freaking intergalactic Scarface or something? Like,
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
fucking
anyways-
badass.
why not Cad Bane? Cad Bane's like an ultimate killer, dude. You ever seen Clone Wars?
All right, and then now I'm
No
just
thanks.
gonna go ahead and move it on because we're gonna go in a little bit quick circle.
Star Wars.
I'm gonna pass it on to Fred, and let's go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, how can I put it in nice terms? Like I said, the movie is cool. It plays the parts that it plays well, but it's just like I said, it just doesn't go deep enough. It's just real surface level. The actors were cool. I liked them in the parts they did. I liked Chewbacca. I liked Han Solo. I liked Lando. You know, like I liked everybody that they put into it. It all worked well. It all meshed well. But it was just missing some extra stuff. It just wasn't like it just yeah. It's just missing something to bring it more impactful. And like I said, I feel that they made him way too happy-go-lucky for the kind of life he was living. I think he should have been a little bit more rough around the edges. And I get it, maybe hope or whatever. But the way you see him later on, and I get that you can say, well, more experiences in life is going to change him. But you would think he would have a little bit, maybe be a little bit more tougher, a little bit more, not super rough, but at least the signs of like, this is where he's headed. Because you never got the signs of this is where I'm headed until the very end, maybe with a gunshot and he goes and sees him. But I would have wanted to see maybe a few more hints before that. Just a little bit. Not like I said, not a full. He doesn't have to have like the mean, like oh fuck Jedi and all this. No, just a little bit more to start showing me. Because throughout the whole movie, I felt like it was a story of. Honestly, the Han Solo story was of him trying to get the girl back. It wasn't Han Solo doing what he does. It was him literally going after this one girl that at the end of the movie ends up choosing the dark side instead of going back with Han Solo. Instead of saying like, well, maybe I died, fake whatever. She died there. Nobody's going to know. I mean, everybody was dead there anyways. She could have lived her life with Han Solo, but instead she chooses that. And that's where I'm like, if it was more of the Han Solo story per se on his own stuff, going through these adventures on his own with these other people, I think I would have seen it more than what I noticed it as kind of like a love story that went awry at the end. That's how I saw it.
Okay.
So you.
No, you're up. You're up next.
Why? I'm kind of cynical on this. Well, first of all, just after all the Star Wars, I'm just kind of tired of it. Like, if you're gonna make a Star Wars movie, just please be good. Please be good. Please, like, I get it. You're not gonna lose money by any means. Just please, me. I'm not a I appreciate the Star Wars franchise for what it's done, but I am not like I'm not big into it. I'm more into like watching it as a movie. I really love the original trilogy. The Force Awakens was okay, and then after that, no comment for now. But with this movie, in terms of a Solo spin-off movie, it's like going back to the whole thing before. Yeah, there's like people have different ideas of Solo, but in the end that doesn't matter because there is a set vision for Solo that we've seen in the original movies and in the actual Star Wars movies, and I'm not sure if this really co-aligns with it. And then because it's the whole, like you said, it's a checklist. You know, you have to hit all these checklists. But then what happens with everything outside of that checklist? You can literally do whatever you want. So it's like in the end, it doesn't matter because it's not going to affect the story. It's a prequel after all. So, you know, and like the whole, like there's a part where they're hanging off the side of a moving train. They're going to pretend that like Chewie is about to die. Like, no, everybody knows he's not going to die. So why even bother teasing it, you know? So in the end, I don't see it as necessary. And I feel like it's just made to make money.
And I can't say that I disagree with any of that. I probably fall in the middle between you guys and Alan, where I thought this was a unnecessary but enjoyable movie. This was a movie that did not need to exist. The fact that it exists, though, doesn't really bother me. I watched it in theaters and then I watched it again for this podcast, and I enjoyed it both times. It feels, though, like this movie is playing it so safe. And I think a big part of the reason for that is because of The Last Jedi. Because The Last Jedi did not play it safe. No, and there's things about The Last Jedi that I'm like, this is incredible. And there's things about The Last Jedi I'm like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And this one, there's nothing in it that is as dumb as The Last Jedi or as great as The Last Jedi. It just plays it down the middle.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I think this whole, I'm going to bring it up again, the checklist method of making a movie. It's very apparent in both movies. It's like they're sacrificing logic to have these cool scenes and to get to the point. And we're talking about with the Last Jedi. It's like, this needs to happen. Does it make sense in the universe? No, but we don't care. It's going to happen. So it's, you know, a good example from the movie is, you know, they're dropping bombs on a Star Destroyer in space at the very beginning of the movie. How was that possible? There's no gravity.
This is something about magnets, but it's stupid.
That's just one small example. I mean,
yeah,
there's that, and then the plot, and because whatever. I don't really want to talk about that movie right now.
But getting back to the Solo. If you remember, was no marketing on this movie until like right up to the end, and
That's true. Well, why would they choose to release it in?
Well, hold on. Let me finish my review, guys.
Yeah.
Let me finish my review.
No, let me just say, but didn't they suffer with like a director or something?
That's what I was about to get into.
Okay,
let me get into it. That's the thing. That this movie originally was Lord and Miller were the directors, who are, in my opinion, really good directors, and they were doing a lot of things like taking a lot of big risks and doing all these things where like apparently like the writers were like they were not happy with it. They were wanting to do a lot of improv. They were like making Han Solo kind of a like there was reports that it was going to be kind of like a more goofy-ish character, like not goofy but kind of like Ace Ventura-ish almost. Like I don't know how accurate that is, but like
I thought you were going to say more like a Star-Lord kind of like
no, like yeah, probably like a Star-Lord,
like
that kind of like yeah, that's
yeah.
probably what it's more like, but I don't think it was really Ace Ventura. I think that was just something that somebody saw like a Star-Lord thing and came out and wanted to make it sound bad because when they fired them, but these guys were taking risks. Lord and Miller, who are like directors that I love, and I think that Star Wars was like, ooh, we've been taking risks and it's been not doing well. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna fire these guys after they pretty much made the whole movie. Like Omar Sly is in this movie as like the Beckett part, or not Beckett. The Vision plays him, Paul Bettany's part. They reshot all that. They reshot most of the movie, which is also why this movie is so expensive and it lost so much money, because they basically shot almost the whole thing twice. Because they did about 75% and then pretty much reshot all that.
And that could contribute, and that has contributed to many Star Wars and Disney movies with, just like tone and like a lot of problems with The Last Jedi, Rogue One, Solo is tone inconsistency. Yeah. You go from like somebody just was brutally murdered in a war battle to Casino to funny droid feminist moments.
But like with this one, there's like other than like the part where it's like he's kind of speaking Wookiee, that was the only scene I saw where I was like, this was probably directed by them. The rest of it I couldn't really tell. And then they hired Ron Howard, who is a good director. Ron Howard, but he feels like he's the guy who you bring in to just kind of finish the movie, get it in, and kind of like do exactly what the studio wants and make a passable fine movie. They had, and I don't want to be one of those guys who's like hashtag release the Snyder Cut, like wondering what we could have had, but it might have been better. It might have been great, but I don't want to be one of those guys who's like, it could have been great though. And I would have liked, I'm really curious to see what it would have been. Even if it would have taken risks, if it wouldn't have worked out, I would have really liked to have seen it. Whereas this one, it's just a passable movie. Like Ron Howard kind of just delivers on it. He does a fine job, but he doesn't take any chances. And the movie, there are some cool themes that I like about it. I do like that at the end, he kind of gets betrayed by everybody, and I think it does kind of turn him into that, like, Han shoots first hardened character. You mean at the end, when his love of his life kind of just abandons him to go off, and he
that's
learns
a very
to not
Han
trust
Solo
anybody.
thing with it. Is that a very Alden Ehrenreich, whatever his name is,
And I think
Solo
he does.
thing to do?
He's not like quite Ewan McGregor, where he does a great job of this iconic
you have
character.
a line does not connect.
He's not
line.
quite Harrison Ford, but he does a pretty good job. He's never going to be up there, but he does a fine job. But
what about Childish Gambino as Lando?
I thought he was great. He was great.
Oh, yeah.
Then they actually have a new Chewie in this too, who does a great.
Yeah. I think this is a great job.
He was like partly in the Last
piece.
Jedi.
It's burning.
But I thought this was just a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
It actually interesting. So it has a like we mentioned, a 60% on, was it 60 or 70%? 70% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is only 5% higher than episode 2, and it's 10% lower than episode 3. So through that spectrum, I do think it is underrated.
What'd you say it was?
It's 70%, so that's 10% less than episode 3.
So you say it's underrated, but then
I think
it's about discussing the point of, does it deserve it though? Because if it deserves it, then it's not underrated.
I think compared to other Star Wars movies, if you look at it in the spectrum of Star Wars movies,
I know that, but
it's the second lowest
Star
one.
Wars movies
Yeah,
suck.
but you know what? And I think in this one we gotta judge it in the sense of like, because I think we're gonna have to get to a point where we judge these Star Wars movies in their solo movie, not like Han Solo, but like their solo spin-offs on their own.
They stand off on their own.
They stand off on their own.
And how
plus
they fit into the
actual like main storyline. Because we're gonna have to judge them separately because it is a one-off. I mean, even though it's part, but it's like Rogue One. It's a one-off story, one thing to its own. It's on its side, and that's where it's gonna be compared to the main stories of what we've got.
And I like this. I think this movie is much better than Solo. I mean Rogue One. I'm sorry.
I disagree. I really like Rogue One, and I kind of like what I like about it is it's like we're going and seeing stuff we've never seen in Star Wars before. It's not checking any boxes like this one is.
Well, the story's kind of set for it on its own, and then also just the whole thing about. I mean, at least in Solo, we do get the characters are a little bit more likable.
Well,
and
that's
they are
the thing.
characters. That's something else.
So something that you mentioned, like in this movie, you're like, oh, what's the point of seeing if Chewbacca might? We know he's going to live. In Rogue One, we're like, we don't know if these characters are going to live. And then in the end,
that's
spoiler
true,
alert,
and that's
they don't.
more
and then,
entertaining.
that's
Because
why that
don't
works as a
know.
prequel, and this one doesn't quite. But Ariel has joined us. What do you have to say?
Challenger entered. I just wanted to pop in, to give my
Gives you 2 cents.
give my 2 cents. So I do like the Solo movie. For me, Solo and Rogue One are pretty much equal in my liking of them. I kind of, because it is Han Solo, and despite what Alan's allegory or analogy earlier in the podcast said, I do actually like Han Solo a lot, and I compare him and Luke to the same.
I love
level.
Han Solo was my favorite character as a kid up until Obi-Wan in the prequels. He's my favorite Star Wars character.
Yeah, Luke is my favorite, but I do love Han Solo, and I mean it's Harrison Ford, so you have that iconic kind of thing there too. So for me, both of these movies I pretty much enjoyed. Like I said, maybe a little bit more of Solo, but the thing that I enjoy about both movies, and I'm hoping that this trend continues into the future of these Star Wars movies that are going to be coming out, is that they're taking these genres and putting them into a Star Wars frame of mind, where at like Rogue One.
Yes. I love that this is a Star Wars heist movie. I fucking love that.
So like this Solo is a Star Wars heist movie, and Rogue One is a Star Wars espionage movie. So I really thoroughly enjoy Solo for that reason, and for that keeping with this trend of these new Star Wars films and properties. So for that, I do give it credit. that it's with because it being the second one of these like kind of standalone a Star Wars story movie of like establishing that trend of being these different genres in the Star Wars.
It's different. It's like new genres of movies set in this universe. We've only gotten the Skywalker saga of movies, and it's really cool we have this whole universe. Let's tell some other kinds of stories set within it.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see more of that.
Yeah.
Although we might not after this movie failed so bad at the box office. They've been saying they're not going to.
No, they
at least put it on hold. They put it on hold for a while.
Well, I've heard they're going to make other trilogies.
More movies.
Yeah, so they're going to make other movies now. If it's, I think it's probably did take him a hit with Han Solo and being maybe
because Disney came out and said like we're going to put a stop
to
for
these,
temporarily for the Star Wars stories.
Because there was going to be a Boba Fett movie. There was going to be they were talking. I mean, talks. I'm not saying that they were, but there were talks for like a Boba Fett, a Obi-Wan. Who else can we give him a movie? And then they saw this, and then they also saw. And I think what it is not just this movie, but like you said, that pushback on what was it, Episode 8. With a little bit of the like, oh man, what the hell is this and that? That probably set them, like you said, and I agree, in some little kind of backtracking of, whoa, slow down. We're going a little too crazy. If it would have just been, if Episode 8 didn't happen, what happened? I believe that they probably would have let Solo write out their movie to kind of...
not seen it as a
And
long.
it was released way too soon. Like you were saying, it was released in like May instead of December. For some reason, I don't know why they did that. That was a bad decision.
But like, yeah, and it's just one of those things that I wonder, like, if it's.
And they didn't market it very well. Like there was nothing at all until like maybe like the Super Bowl, which was like 2 months before or something like that.
That's what I'm saying.
It was marketed terribly.
I think this movie suffers more than anything. Just like you said, its predecessor gave it a little.
It took the wind out of its sails.
The changing of the directors, the way the reception of Episode 8
had a lot going against it.
Exactly, and I think it did very well. Like that's what I'm saying. I think the movie did well. Did it execute what it wanted? Maybe if the checklist was what it wanted at the end.
It's a mixed bag.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's a tough one. Like this movie could have been worse than what it was. Mm-hmm. I think the actors did a good job to keep it going well with probably all the changes that you have, because you don't know. I don't know if they've ever said it, like what parts are the original parts, what parts were the new shot parts. Well, because didn't they add an extra actor too or something?
Yeah, like they swapped out Paul Bettany and Omar Sly. Like it was, and like there's a lot of stuff like like, oh, that's obviously shot by Ron Howard because that's Ron Howard's brother that he puts in all his movies. And they really reshot about 75% of the movie,
which is a lot.
Which is why it's so insanely expensive. It costs more than any other Star Wars movie. Costs more than I think almost any non-Avengers or non-Pirates of the Caribbean movie. It's like 8th of all time or something like that.
Yeah, and that's like
and it was higher when it came out because Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame hadn't come out. So
I think Disney is a company that understands these things and these factors, and maybe they understand that if they didn't have to reshoot that it could have been profitable for them, and it was probably going to be profitable for them. So I think, but because it was technically kind of like a setback with this, and then you could group in Episode 8, I feel like they want to kind of reestablish their voice of Star Wars.
Yeah. And
then continue, because Star Wars isn't going anywhere. We have Episode 9 coming, and then we also have The Mandalorian and
the TV series on Disney Plus coming out.
So I think with them, they might have seen that, okay, we can't do this like we do Marvel movies, because we can't do them that fast. And it's possibly because it's Star Wars. And even though, like we were saying, like I said earlier, they are different genres, but it is in the same world. Whereas in Marvel, you have like the different realms and you have space and all that. So like the overall background it could possibly change in like Marvel movies. That might help with the fatigue. But I think with Star Wars, because it is like it's set in a very well known background that it's possible that
there's a certain aesthetic and
So-
feel that you expect from a Star Wars movie. More than like a Marvel movie, a Thor Ragnarok can look very different than a Captain America Winter Soldier, or a Guardians of the Galaxy looks very different from a Daredevil TV show.
Yeah, I mean, like when you said that Ace Ventura thing about
And that was just a rumor.
and that's just a rumor. But let's just even go with like if they just made him goofy. I started to think. For example, like what was it? Happy Days. You had the Fonz, right? Mysterious and the cool guy.
Then you jump the shark.
I'm just saying like he's that was me. Sorry, that's a mysterious and cool guy. But what I'm saying is if you already have your image of your guy who's cool, like now, I don't know what would happen if you made him goofy then, because in your mind you might think like, well, this is a guy who's probably been cool forever.
Yeah, it might have been bad. Like honestly, the Lord and Miller version might have been bad. It might have been good, and we'll never know.
Everything else, like taking chances on everything else, I think I'm down with. It's if you take too many liberties on changing the character that's already, you can give him his story and do his stuff, right? But if you change him too much from how his future self is going to be, I think that's where you kind of mess up. Yeah. And I wonder if that's the reason why they got rid of him, because they were going to change it way too much from then.
I'm more curious. I'm not upset that they changed. I'm more curious.
That's where I'm at. I wonder if that's where it was, because if that's what it was, I would have preferred them tone it down on that part, but give us exciting things on the other side. Because, like you said, if all you have to hit are certain check boxes, but you've got this whole playground to play with, well, play with the other toys, do other stuff with it, and then really, because it wasn't a bad idea with them. The storm and the monster and the like, those were kind of cool things. Could have been better because they could have made it more exciting. But it's almost like they had something. They were baking some cookies, but they took them out too soon, and they were still not like they weren't. The chocolate chip was still too the dough was still too.
You know what it felt like? It felt like the prologue from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, but a feature-length movie.
Boom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it works as a prologue because it's like, okay, you see Indy get his hat and his whip, and he gets his scar, because it's a 10-minute sequence, and then it leads into something. This is it's kind of like if they had compressed this, I think, to a prologue before something else, have this be the prologue, and then have Han Solo do something else. That would have been great. I think it would have really worked.
They should have gone another small mission or done something with Lando, because I feel like they underused Lando.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like even though I know a lot of people didn't really they kind of were rubbed the wrong way with Lando in this film, but I felt like Lando, that his story was told a bit better, maybe because they didn't have to hit those many checkpoints and stuff like that he was given more of an engaging background, and his his pansexuality, you could say, with the robot, and you kind of got that sense.
Yeah, because he didn't have to you didn't have to check all these boxes. You kind of could do whatever with Lando, and that's why I think I agree 100%. But I mean,
and then even with the robot and the eventuality of the robot becoming the Millennium Falcon, and that's why the Millennium Falcon that's one that it wasn't a checkbox, but it was a really good addition to the lore of Han Solo, because it's he's always called her hello girl, or that's my girl, and all that, and you find out that
she's sassy and stuff.
The Millennium Falcon is really a girl.
Yeah.
Oh, the Millennium Falcon does actually have a conscience, because the Millennium Falcon, you've seen it always being described this temperamental piece of junk, and how is it has and then there's been these subtle things it has a mind of its own.
The subtle stuff works, they're mentioning Scarif, they're mentioning all these little things that those things really work. And I like all the new introductions, you've got Kira. I really like the here's Darth Maul. It's the stuff like that I really like. Like I said, it's the checkbox stuff that we need to include this. Why?
Yeah, it's like you said, those things. Those were the extra stuff that I was talking about, like the Millennium Falcon and the thing, and putting the brain in there. Those are the things that I think you want to see more of in the Han Solo, things that you didn't know.
Yeah.
But that expand the lore. It expands the lore in a way that you, even though maybe that hits a checkbox, right? The Millennium Falcon, how does it know? How does it fly so well? Well, maybe that's the explainer, but they did it in a way that it's almost like they didn't tell you. It just was shown,
Yeah.
and you kind of like stumble upon it yourself. And
It's
you
a
go,
question we
wow.
answered that we didn't know we had.
Exactly. And that's what they need to do with those movies. They need to answer questions that you didn't know you had already.
Right.
Just like you said. That's how you're going to get these movies right. Because that's the thing. We already know that he's gonna do the Kessel Run in so much that he got the Millennium Falcon by beating Lando
in a Spock game. We don't need to see him.
No.
We know that happened. We
And
don't
now-
need to see it exactly happen.
I like the way they worked it in by having the one match where he lost and one match where he
I
didn't.
did like that. It
That-
subverted my expectations.
Yeah, because I expected, like I said, oh, but this is where he wins it, and
Yep.
he doesn't, and I go, cool. That was a nice way of doing it. But see, they should have done a lot more of that in the movie. That's the
Yeah.
problem. That they know how to do it because they've shown us a couple times, but they just didn't. And I don't know, and that could be the director's changes. But
Yeah.
it was they have a diamond that just didn't get polished enough.
Yeah, it's just fine, and
Yeah.
I think like we can all kind of agree
Yeah,
that
I think that's what it is. It's a good movie.
Mhm.
You should watch it, and it's fine. It's a fine movie.
I would say I recommend it to you if you're a fan of Star Wars.
Yeah.
If you're like a casual fan of Star Wars, skip it. If you are like, oh, I love Star Wars, watch it.
Yeah.
You know, if you like Han Solo, you like he's really cool. Sure, check it out. But if you're not that into Star Wars, you know, like you didn't love them, like this is not the movie for
Now I
you.
got to throw this question out there. Then, do you think that all these solo movies that they're doing, you think are these made more for the fans, like the hardcore fans, than the casual goer?
I think so. Especially
Yeah.
with Rogue One.
That's what I was wondering.
Like, yeah, it went deep into the lore.
But I think Rogue One you can kind of watch as its own. Like it does tie a lot into New Hope,
Yeah.
but it's a self-contained thing. You don't have to like know like Han Solo had these dice, you know.
True, but no, you know what? I feel like you have to. I almost feel like you have to watch the original movies
Mhm.
to even want to think about watching that movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like.
Especially with Rogue One.
Like if you went through let's just say the order that you go right now where you go episode 1, 2, and 3 and 4, 5, and 6 like that. If you went through it, at some point you would be like, hey, I wonder about there's Rogue One. And as you go along, you know, you finally see Han Solo's progression all the way through. You go, you know, I wonder, and there's a Han Solo movie. I wonder if that's what they're trying to get us at. They're hoping that they're going to peg us all to say, oh wow, I got to go see this movie because I already know all this.
Yeah.
But,
But yeah, you guys see this movie's reputation changing, it becoming less underrated because you know it did okay, like 70%. Like the fans, I think, are the ones who are just kind of like, nah.
Well, and with the Star Wars fans, they're a mixed bag. They are known for the loudest group being a very toxic group of
Oh yeah.
of hating themselves. They're like
Nobody hates
they
Star Wars more than
become-
Star Wars fans.
Yeah,
But you know what?
they're the memes.
I think that's what gets so many people to go though. I mean, they're so and I feel like with a lot of big fandoms like that, like the fans are just like, I mean, I'm talking about like passion, like beyond almost like like fever and rage of passion or something. Where one thing goes right, it's like Alan and Frank when they were talking about the Darth Vader scene, right?
Yeah.
When one scene like that, it's like everybody just creamed themselves like this is it. But when something goes wrong, like let's say episode 8, where you had all those guys come out and go, "Hey, what the hell? You know why this and that?" And blah blah blah. Yeah, and they will passionately tell you.
That's fair.
Like
it's like what's going on with Game of Thrones right now. All the fans
Oh,
like, losing their shit.
yeah. Because they're like, oh, what was it? A petition to redo the whole shit?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
But-
Season 8.
but-
It's
but-
fucking
but-
Oh no, it's ridiculous. But that's it right there. Like, check out the passion
and
enough
it's
to
the
go.
same thing. There was a petition to redo episode 8 of Star Wars.
Exactly.
You know?
And that's what I'm saying. The passion that you need to have to be like, I'm gonna go do one of those. What do they call those?
Petition?
Yeah, but it wasn't like one of those big like
GoFundMe?
like gov dot some shit almost positions like big level shit where they're like and they got a shit ton of signatures too. Like, don't get me wrong, like damn, like that's something to just say, hey, I think they should redo this movie because it sucks is one thing, but to go as far as these fans are going, like the Game of Thrones fans and the Star Wars fans for this stuff, that's why they can keep making those movies, and that's why these guys can keep.
So as a more, I don't want to say casual, but
I've got tattoos everywhere all over my arms.
Yeah.
As the more fans that watch this movie, and you know, like Star Wars is always a growing fandom. as more fans watch this movie and they're not as passionate as that, somewhat manically passionate about that stuff, I feel like it could grow.
Yeah,
I mean, people will be more lenient and stuff like that. And then, of course, like with the new properties coming along every year, the new parks, the new,
I agree.
Yeah, you can't stay this mad for this long. Like it's gonna get less divisive.
Yeah.
People are gonna get less loud about it, and people will just see it as a Star Wars movie eventually. I think.
I completely agree with you guys, and that's the thing about this movie though that gets the benefit compared to like The Island or like let's say Monkey Bones or the other ones is this has a franchise behind it that people are going to keep watching, and that means there's going to be new fans, and then people are going to be like, well, you got to watch Solo if you want to, or someone's going to, because there's going to be a fan that's going to tell them, well, if you really want to, you got to watch it all, good or bad, you got to watch it.
We have one fan who just basically caught up with the MCU and watched all the movies, so you have those. You're always going to have those fans.
That's the thing. When a franchise is like that, just like the Batman franchise, but Warner Brothers, where they're superheroes, someone, even if we say BVS sucks, right? And you might have your opinion whether it's good or bad, but I'm just saying, there's going to be a guy who goes, well, did you watch the Nolan Batmans? Did you watch this? Did you watch the Tim Burton one? You got to watch if you're a definitive Batman fan, you're going to have to go watch, BVS, and you're going to want to watch the Justice League, because if you are a Batman fan, you're going to have to. And that's the benefit of these movies, that when you got that thing, people are going to watch them.
Yeah. And then you're also going to have people that are like Alan with BVS, where it's like that's their favorite Batman.
Hardened defenders to the bitter end. And that's their fandom.
And then you never know. Like there might be...
And then there's a guy like me who's like, I petitioned to like Snyder Cut. Come on, let's go.
Yeah. That population might grow.
Yeah.
The population of Solo being their Star Wars story.
That's some of these movies get that luck that either they have a certain director with a certain name, or they're going to have a certain franchise behind it, or a certain actor, something that is going to make somebody draw back to that one movie that we go, this movie's underrated, and we think it should do better. But some of these have that, like, I guess, extra advantage of having something behind them that's going to get eyes on it. Now, whether it does well or not, who knows? But for sure, these movies are going to have eyes on them because people are going to send them that way.
Yeah.
And they have luck, and hopefully they do go. Like I think we all agree, it's a good movie. It's a solid movie. It's not gonna blow your socks off, but it's not gonna also sour your day.
And it doesn't deserve hate it gets from people.
It does
I
not.
think that's why
it does not.
Classified
it
as
does
underrated.
not. I mean, hell, the Lando and the robot was actually touching.
Yeah.
Really touching. Like really like wow.
All right. Well, anything else, guys, before we wrap it up?
I don't think so. I think the three of us are the last ones here right now.
Yeah, we lost a couple people there on the podcast, and we had to trade Ariel out.
We had to send someone to the bench to pull someone off.
But guys, thanks for listening, everybody. If you guys could go ahead and hit subscribe on your podcast app, and get some new episodes when they come out every other week. We'd love it if you guys could give us a rating and review. Preferably, if you give us a rating, give us 5 stars out of 5.
Oh yes.
On especially on Apple Podcasts, that really helps us get noticed. Or just tell a friend. Honestly, that helps so much.
Share our podcast if you can to whatever social media site you have. That would be awesome.
And we're telling you a lot of things. If you can just do one and you can't do anything else, just tell somebody.
Great.
Just tell somebody. But do any of those things. But, once again, this is us at the Undercast Company, made up of Ariel and Sergio Ortiz of Nerd Incorporated.
Thanks for being amazing.
Alan and Fred Torres from District 6.
What's up? We will see you guys later.
And I am Derek McDuff. You can find stuff I've written on sites like WatchMojo.com, or you can check out my Marvel podcast, Infinity Stones and Dragon Bones, or just follow me on Instagram at Derek's Photos, Derek's_photos. We'll be back soon with another film, so stay tuned. I'll see you guys in another life.
Adios.